boys and girls, welcome back to art. Last week we had started these pottery pieces where we used line of symmetry to create our shape here, and then when we open it, it makes two whole pieces. And we also used some lines on our pottery to create some images and patterns on here so that we have something we can decorate. Now, in Greek pottery, the reason that they would have images and pictures on there was to tell a story. So if yours wants to represent some kind of story, you can do that as well. I stuck with lines because of trying to decorate and using lines to decorate with patterns and colors. So if you notice, I do have oil pastels here. This is what I'm going to be using with this art project. I'm also going to be using a black Sharpie. If you don't have oil pastels, use crayons, it'll work as well. So you use what you have at home. If you want to try to paint it, you can do that as well. I'm trying to use materials that you guys do have at home. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually trace over these pencil lines, and I actually like to go over them a few times so that I make nice thick lines instead of thin lines like this. So I'm going to go over it and create thick lines instead of thin lines. So I'm going to go over it a couple times. So right now, using a Sharpie, you are going to trace over your pencil lines that you created last week so that these are not showing in pencil, because we don't want that showing in our artwork. So go ahead and trace that. Alright, boys and girls, so you can see that I have taken and traced all the lines with nice thick black lines using my Sharpie, and so they are completely done, and I have tried to erase all the pencil that might have been on my paper so that way it's not left on there and my artwork looks like it's not finished. So again, I said we're going to be using oil pastels, and you can see here that I have a color wheel, and we're going to use this in our artwork because we're going to be using analogous colors. Now, analogous colors are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. They are side by side, and the way we use those is because they blend really well together. So I'm going to use these oil pastels to really blend in. Now, I don't have to color all pieces. I want some of them to have this brown color so that it looks like the pottery that they use to create their projects, but I might do like this piece and leave this one brown and then color the next one. So again, I said we're going to use analogous colors, and those are neighbors on the color wheel. So I'm going to pick orange here. So I have orange, but then the colors next to it are going to be yellow orange, and I can even use yellow. So I'm going to use these analogous colors because they are together on the color wheel. So we're going to use those to actually blend in on our project here. So when I'm coloring, I like to always start with my darker colors. You can use your lighter ones if you would like to, but when I'm using oil pastels, we can do it like this, where you press light, but then it doesn't, it looks more like a crayon to me, and it doesn't blend as well. So when I'm using oil pastels, I like to get that creamy, cakey feeling on it. So I'm actually going to press down a little bit harder. I'm going to make sure I get my edges, but I'm also going to make sure that I'm really careful not to color on my black lines because I want to color nice and neat. And I'm coloring, notice, the same direction, but I'm going this way. So that way when I meet with my crayons or my other oil pastels, I'm blending in together. And you can do the same thing with your crayons, boys and girls. If you don't have oil pastels, use crayons. You can do the same thing. I'm using these because we have these in the classroom, and so this is what the students here are going to be using, but you don't have to go out and buy oil pastels just to do this project. You can use crayons. So I am taking my orange here and I am coloring in nice and dark so that you can feel like that creamy texture with it. Now when I go, I want these two colors to blend nicely together. So what I'm going to do, and I always tell my kids DML, dark, medium, light. So dark, medium, light. And so I want these two colors to blend. So I'm actually going to color now lighter using that same first oil pastel, because then I'm gonna take, so I'm coloring now like I said with the, like it looks like a crayon, But then I'm going to take that medium color, that I'm going to use, and I'm going to color on top of that lighter orange. And again, I'm going in the same direction, and you can see here that I am blending in those colors. So instead of just making a line, I'm actually creating the blending going in together instead of just creating a line. So now I'm going to use that color, and I'm going to use it by itself. And then I'm also going to take and color lighter over here so that I can go into my other color. So I'm going to take my light color and I'm going to color into some of that color that I just did with my medium, and I'm going to blend those two colors in. And so now I have that nice sunset look to it. I like to kind of wipe it off. And I've got that nice blended color going through using analogous colors. So now I'm going to pick another piece, and I'm going to use my color wheel again, and I'm going to attach a color wheel to your lesson so that you guys can see it. I'm sorry that this is late this week. Mrs. Shop's iPad was acting up and I wasn't able to record until now. So I am sorry that it's not getting posted till today, but hopefully you can get it done. You have until next week and stuff, but you can even turn them in later. I'm just trying to get y'all something on there for this week. So again, I'm going to pick some analogous colors. So if I was to pick pink here, I'm going to pick maybe some colors over here, or I could even go towards red and use my red color, and I could even use purple with those three colors. So I'm going to pick one of my pieces. I'm going to kind of get some of these crumbs off with my oil pastels. Try not to sweep it away too much because it will like smear and on your paper. So I know I said I was going to leave some of mine brown, and I am going to leave this piece brown because I want to have like that clay look, but this one I am going to color. And so what I'm actually going to do, so I'm going to use this right here, this color, and I'm going to move into my other colors over here. So sometimes we want to test our colors out before we actually put them on there. So this was my purple that I was going to use, and then I also have my pink because I want to see if they're actually going to work together, and I don't like that together. So I'm actually going to choose some other colors, and I'm going to choose this red violet color and my purple, and I'm going to use, so I want to test out my colors, and I use this purple, and then I can go into red violet, and then I could go into pink. So I like that better, these three combinations. I didn't really like the red with it. So test out your colors on a scrap paper before you actually put it onto your artwork. I meant to tell you that, guys, beforehand. So I'm trying out my colors first, and I don't want to do this one. I really like it better this way. So I started a little bit further down in the color wheel and changed it instead of actually adding red into it. Instead, I just went and moved back a little bit on the color wheel so that I had it more like this. So instead, I didn't do this one. So you can see, boys and girls, I've already done one of my colors. I've done the dark, rich, creamy part, and then I'm going to take my second color, and you can see that I've colored light with the other color, and I'm going to actually come on top of that color and color in so that my colors blend nicely instead of looking like I've got stripes where I have one color and then the next color. I actually want these colors to blend. So now I'm coming on top of this one, and I'm coloring with my oil pastel, pressing down a little bit harder so that I can create make it nice and creamy. And now I color lighter using that color, and I'm going to take my last color and I'm going to color on top of that, pressing down hard so that I can blend in those two colors instead of just going straight into pink. And then I come up and I color nice and dark with that pink for the rest of it because I don't have another color that I'm going to go into. And then you've got this nice beautiful color of just blending in. So finish coloring your entire thing. You should probably be about using 2 to 3 colors for each piece. Remember to leave some brown. Like I'm going to color these in, but then I'm going to color in the suns probably and not so much in the background because it might be a little bit harder. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I might color these two and leave some brown up here. You can see, boys and girls, I didn't color in the background. I just used oil pastel or crayon you can use, and I just outlined with my suns on here, so that way I wasn't coloring in or trying to get around the yellow in here. So maybe just leave this part brown if you did this shape right here instead of trying to color around it. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my 3 colors, my analogous colors, to color some of my other pieces. So you can see, boys and girls, I used green, and yellow, again using dark, medium, light, but then remember to color dark, then light, and blend those 2 colors in overlapping. So finish coloring, boys and girls, and I hope you had fun with this. Remember to leave some brown pieces so that it looks like the pottery, and have fun with this, boys and girls, and send me some pictures of your artwork. Bye, boys and girls.